This is a big matchup, man, and I'm gonna let the cat out the bag early, AJ. This got fight of the night written all over it, dude. This is a featherweight contest. Julian Juicy J Erosa versus SeungWoo Sting Choi, man. I just have to say, AJ, man, I'm very, very impressed with this matchmaking right here. Choi is no joke, and we learned that the hard way in his last fight, man. This dude has legit kickboxing, and you know what his kickboxing was a little reminiscent of to me, AJ? Like, in terms of the speed, don't get me wrong, not the same power, not the same pop, not all that, but of an Edson Barbosa with that 1-2 calf kick, just like it just, whoosh, you know, that Jose Aldo, excuse me. Listen, man, Erosa, he's an underdog. I think he was an underdog against Nate Landwehr before he kneed him in the face into oblivion and put him out, man. And Choi, he's no joke. He's a good kickboxer, AJ. But what stood out to you off the bat when you saw this matchup?
Man, when I saw this matchup, it was a late edition, if I'm not mistaken. And what I was excited for in my mind, I was like, man, this is a sleeper of a fight, and this has fight of the night potential written all over it. Julian Erosa, I think he's coming in as the underdog because he's very awkward. Yeah. He throws like spinning attacks basically out of nowhere with zero setup. He likes to get wild, but he can tag you, and when he does, he hurts you. Very dangerous all around with 11 KOs, 11 submissions. This dude knows how to fight, and what I like about Julian Erosa most is that he describes himself as a sniper. You love hearing that. You love seeing people that can actually see a shot coming in and capitalize on it. Now, SeungWoo Choi, I can see that Edson Barbosa call out. He kind of does the same stuff, cuts the cage off nicely, stays going forward, full pressure. Those kicks are absolutely insane. And honestly, I'm expecting Choi to maintain control of the cage, stay offensive. He showed really good takedown defense against our boy Yusuf Zalal, the Moroccan Devil. And man, it was I'm very excited for the SeungWoo Choi fight because we're gonna see how he's able to do against someone who's a little different. Now, Julian Erosa is, like I said, very kind of weird, tricky, hard to figure out. But Choi, at the same time, he's very fundamental. So seeing those two kind of aspects battle together, I'm very excited for this. Choi has these long kicks, very bouncy, full pressure forward, very a classic Chinese style of fighting, which, you know, that we've seen in the past can lead to some devastating KOs when you stay only going one direction. But I think Choi has it where he's able to bounce in and out, get those angles, hit those angles that he would like to see from the side, bouncing around, and really make it a little different, something that Erosa really hasn't seen yet soon. Now, that's all to be seen or heard, but I'm very excited for this one because I think the difference of styles, both kind of wild and crazy in Erosa and then very solid and technical in Choi, it's going to make for a banger of a fight. What stood out to you?
Well, I mean, damn, you took the words right out of my mouth, my man. That was a very succinct and poignant, you know what I'm saying, assessment of what this matchup is going to be. That's really what stood out to me, man, is everything that you said. But on top of it, Julian Erosa is arguably one of the biggest featherweights in the division next to Sean Woodson, who he actually fought and defeated just 2 fights ago, right? And that's what's interesting to me is the height disadvantage in this one for Choi. He's 5'7". Erosa is 6'1". So that's what, 3, 4, 5, 6? That's like a 6-inch, disadvantage or whatever the case may be. It's just going to be interesting because when you punch, right, AJ, when you're taught to punch, you're generally taught to punch straight in front of you as opposed to up here. You know what I'm saying? So I think I always look at that and I always say, okay, in terms of the striking, which we know that is Choi's bread and butter, is the kickboxing. How is that going to change things? We know he could whip that leg up really, really quickly, but you got to be careful against a Juicy J Erosa who, like we said, man, lots of movement, lots of not only lateral movement, but great head movement. His head is constantly kind of just moving around, kind of on that Matt Schnell, you know what I'm saying? And he goes to the well with the calf kicks, man. And there's a quote from Teddy Atlas that I really, really enjoy, and it's just water in the basement, man. I think that's going to be one of his best attributes is he just builds up those calf kicks while he's hitting other things. So it's just similar to Leon Edwards, what he did to Nate Diaz, man. If he didn't go to the well with those calf kicks, who's to say Diaz wouldn't have had a stronger offensive performance? But it's part of the game, and you got to be ready for it. I will say, I do think Erosa is deserving of that zombie nickname. I think he has a very zombie-like style because he'll eat shots to give you a couple of shots, man. And that's what's going to be important in this matchup. Here's the thing. Choi is very, very legit. I really enjoy him as a prospect, and I think he could be a contender. However, He's 9-3, AJ. 2-2 in the UFC, 9-3 in his MMA career. Julian Erosa, people forgot about this dude because he was in the UFC before and then, had a layoff and then came back, right? 25-8. Only 2-4 in the UFC. Not very great in the UFC, but he's 25-8 and he has a lot of experience. 11 knockout wins, 11 submission wins. That's what I want to ask you about, AJ. In terms of the submissions, Choi, no submission wins under his belt. He's not really a great grappler. You know what I mean? He's got some decent takedown defense, but with that being said, AJ, do you think Erosa says, I'm not going to go out crazy war style. I'm going to attack you where you're most vulnerable, and I'm going to try to snatch your neck, basically? What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I have it. I have Erosa going in, using his bread and butter, getting on the inside, and putting Choi in some deep water. Literally not letting him feel a good fight. Because if Choi's controlling the whole time, it's going to be a long night for Erosa. I have Erosa literally looking for the takedown, going in. Maybe he doesn't get it and comes back up with some crazy counter shots. We'll see. But I definitely think the key to victory for Erosa is getting the takedown, controlling the fight, position over submission, beat up Choi, and like I said, drag him to deep water that he's never seen before. 9-3, it's a lot less than that 15 minutes you're talking about, even though Erosa has had a little bit of time off. Now, I mean, we're gonna see how that actually goes down, because Choi, he's been working hard, and that even with the use of Zalal in his last fight, his takedown defense is very well. So if he's improving on that even more, and he's able to stuff the Erosa takedowns, it's gonna be crazy. That one, I'm right there for. I'm gonna be like, this is gonna be insane. For me, this is actually another hard one to choose, where I can see both fighters winning it by certain direction. You know what I'm saying? I could see Choi easily winning by decision, or I could see Erosa getting a submission. I think both of these fighters have their ways to win. It's just who's ever able to stop them going forward is going to be the one we're going with.
Let me ask you a question really quickly, AJ, because I don't know. I honestly don't know if he's been training here prior, but Choi is training at Extreme Couture. And we know what Extreme Couture is known for. It's all about the wrestling over there. You know what I'm saying? So who's to say? I mean, if Francis Ngannou says, I need to learn how to stuff a takedown, I need to learn how to take a back off of a sprawl, I'm going to go to Extreme Couture. Who's to say we're not about to see some wrestling, you know what I mean, Choi out of nowhere? You know what I'm saying? But I do think his nickname is Sting for a reason, man, because that is his bread and butter, and that's where he's trying to get you out at. I will say both of these fighters strike almost at a 50% clip. However, the southpaw in Erosa, he lands about 2 more significant strikes per minute than Choi does, from 5 to 3. The last thing that I have to say here, AJ, 66% takedown defense for Choi. He's probably going to need it. But at the end of the day, man, who do you have and why?
Man, this one, like I said, this one's hard for me, but I'm going to Erosa submission early. Round 1, I think when they're dry, I think he's going to work for the takedown. Fight a smart fight. You don't always need to fight the crazy zombie style fight. Sometimes it's good to just cash that paycheck and on to the next, especially with a striker as dangerous as Choi. Who you got and why?
Well, listen, man, when Erosa, when he fought AJ Bryant, right, he submitted him in the first round, nice, easy. But what I like about him is that in his next fight against Sean Woodson, right, what did he do? He didn't even try to pretend like I'm going to sit here and try to grapple or submit, right? Striking contest for 2 rounds. Round 3, you got him tired, you got him beat up. That's when you go in, and that's when you snatch the neck, when they're least expecting it. So with that being said, the erraticness of Julian Erosa, I think it's just going to be a little bit too much. Even though Choi was able to handle the Moroccan Devil, Yusuf Zalal, which is very telling, because Zalal, to me, has some of the best movement in the UFC right now, even though he's so young as a prospect. But I think that Erosa is erratic, and it's a little bit different because Zalal is technical in his movement. Erosa's not. And, who's to say he doesn't pull out a flying knee against like he did against Nate Landwehr? They came out of nowhere, you know what I mean? Who's to say? Crazy blitzes favor Erosa, and I'm going to go Erosa, and I'm going to go a decision win, man. I think Choi is going to be very game. This dude has a very good chin.